Spoštovani zbrani, resnično me veseli.
Dear guests, it is indeed a great honor to see that so many of you have come here today. A large majority of you, of course, know that it is not the first time I am within your community. On a number of occasions, we intensely debated the past. Of course, we also made some important small changes to the right direction when it comes to legislation. Slowly and surely, we are succeeding in changing our social climate, which will be increasingly open to the ideas such as social entrepreneurship. It will show greater understanding for greater importance and relevance of co-ops in all sectors and the future which will be promising. Such future which will promise and create good future for all of us. This is why we have come here today. This is indeed a very special conference which defines cooperatives as the vector of change in Europe. This message is of extreme importance. This goes for Europe, this goes for Slovenia. And this is also a very important message in the global context. Let us not forget that the United Nations said that the period from 31st of October 2011 until this October as the year of cooperatives. And they have very good and sensible arguments and reasons why this international year declared by the United Nations has the slogan "Cooperative Companies for a Better World." And you have to believe me, because for years I have been employed by the UN. This is one of the most important virtues when it comes to creating a better world, and this is in fact the mission of the United Nations. These companies are successful. They provide social security as well as generate social cohesion. Then self-help, democracy, equality, justice. Those companies which follow these principles of cooperatives are also a very good business environment taken as a whole. This business environment, in fact, follows the principles of openness, fairness, social responsibility. I have enumerated quite a number of values, and these values should be put at the forefront. Unfortunately, however, these values are not predominant in our societies. Yet we need to know that these values are valued by the world as a whole. And if Slovenia had made better use of these values in the past, then today we probably wouldn't have been facing such grave economic circumstances as is the case today. Environments which are well organized, which take account of these values, are alleviating poverty. They create good and stable jobs, leading to better social integration. Of course, this is a practical effect. These starting points for many are the main reason to overcome social crisis, to lead a better life, and also to generate good business flows. This goes for Slovenia, Europe, and the world. If today we are asking how to lead a better life, where is the path to a better life, I believe that part and parcel of the answer also lies in cooperatives. Of course, we have been familiarized with these values before the crisis, but on account of market fundamentalism which prevailed, they didn't thrive. They were not consolidated. And therefore they were not able to demonstrate their importance and value. Of course, they have not been preserved to such a great extent, and now it is high time to increase their scope and relevance. In the past, and sometimes, we hear a lot about marginalized form of companies. And this extraordinary, unusual and degrading phrase to some extent have also been the scope for cooperatives to be defined. But today we cannot speak about marginal forms of entrepreneurship, because the crisis has revealed that they are a very good, stable environment, creating and maintaining new jobs. Social entrepreneurship is gaining ground. It has been acknowledged increasingly. And of course, individuals are joining forces on a voluntary basis with a view to together create opportunities for social, economic and other interests to thrive. Well, all these topics are now respectfully dealt with by the society. When it comes to cooperatives, it is an opportunity, it is a duty, it is a form of the past as well as the future. In my opinion, it will probably be some sort of competitive edge in different spheres of activities. It is the fact that cooperatives make sure that we develop social, cultural, as well as banking, insurance, and technological business contexts. They boost the development of such products and services. This, in fact, is the environment where we create basic values, enabling us to survive and to have new redefinition of redistribution and new added value. This quality of these new contexts gives us something which we always have to consider. We also heard today that today cooperatives account for more than 100 million new jobs which are stable, and about 1 billion people are connected with co-ops. When it comes to these people, they were not severely affected by the crisis. They have been able to survive despite the crisis, and they have been reinvigorated, and these values have been given new relevance. Self-help, solidarity, equality, all these values throughout this period have been consolidated once again. Of course, one thing needs to be mentioned, namely the style of management and governance, which is democratic. It shows understanding to people. It is such that it enables us to change the predominant model of the economy. It enables justice when it comes to redistribution of wealth, because those who create wealth actually get this wealth. And of course, we cannot be satisfied with the Slovenian state of economy, because we have notorious examples of companies who have been poorly managed and mismanaged. And I believe that we need to address these issues, and cooperatives are also part of the solution. When it comes to competitive edge of cooperatives, I believe that the people are at the forefront and not the owners of capital. So once again, people are at the center of co-ops. Employees are owners, they help to manage and organize the company when taking common decisions. And these decisions in turn enable sustainability and permanent action. And one important component of sustainable living is also reliability and maintenance of jobs. Then of course, if I use the term, we maintain the status of taxpayer. And this is a very good and sustainable form. When it comes to today's crisis and crisis from the past, co-ops obey these principles, and they are joined based on different ideas. They have different chains, and they are not susceptible to shocks, especially when it comes to their cooperation with co-ops, banks, and other funds. Let me add one thing, because I have plenty of experience, and also experts told me that when it comes to cooperative forms of development, it is not just enough to market your own products, to have common supply chains. No, you need to create connections, you need to network. And these rights, in fact, go beyond workers' rights. They are based on membership, they are employed, and they are both employers and employees. They are sound, they are sustainable, and they contain very important elements of market economy because they are efficient as well. But they also have the elements of social cohesion to go with it. What is the key question for us today? How to consolidate co-ops, what to do in order not for just these ideas and ethics to spread out, but also to make sure that their mission doctrines will spread. Of course, we also need to have practical forms of co-ops. In my opinion, these efforts need to be combined with active employment policies. Self-employment of individuals is part and parcel of this idea. And what is also important, these measures providing assistance to people, to companies in bankruptcy, in my opinion, with the help of cooperatives, should have the right solution, because we spoke a lot about healthy cause. This has been mentioned by Mr. Semonic. This, in my opinion, is a burning issue, and we need to have effective remedies. Of course, when it comes to the rate of profitability, it is not as high as the capitalist model might expect, because owners exert great pressure. But cooperative members, self-employed, had a poor experience in the past, and they are interested in maintaining their jobs, which is why they will contribute with their knowledge, expertise and endeavors. Of course, these are general reflections on my part. A couple of words about legislation. 2 years ago, we adopted the Act on Social Entrepreneurship. At that time, you organized a very similar conference with a similar title, namely Social Entrepreneurship, a vector of change in Europe. At that time, your conference covered a wide range of issues touching upon social entrepreneurship. At that time, we highlighted that Slovenian legislation has many loopholes. This goes for the Act on Cooperatives as well as the Act on Social Entrepreneurship. Both acts are closely integrated with the concepts of social economy. We need to learn and identify these loopholes, and we need to make sure that these loopholes are filled and solutions found. We need to have legislative innovations. At that time, we wondered, when it comes to commodities and services, where can we develop social entrepreneurship and which companies are service-oriented, which companies could embrace these ideas, which products are very interesting for the market, which have enough demand. Of course, these issues are relevant even today. If in the past we haven't been able to come up with good answers, I hope that today we can make progress. And let me mention that we need to bring forward the ideas as to what changes to introduce in our legislation in order to have a good and solid legal framework for the development of cooperatives. In addition to legislation, let me draw your attention to one thing, namely marketing and training. This goes for the training of the management. This goes for social economy as well as cooperatives. Marketing and management have similar concepts which can be found both in social entrepreneurship as well as market economy, but they pursue different objectives, which is why we need to adapt management styles. These ideas are defined through social responsibility. They consider the environment, the interests of employees as well as buyers. This can be achieved when the business environment takes into account these values such as self-help, democratic activities, solidarity and equality. This should not be heard as an idealistic idea, because in the past, in practice, we have been able to learn that people are more attached to these values, as it seems at first hand. Therefore, I believe that profit is the only motive. Motive is not the right answer. So, marketing and management, which to a large extent understands and develops these values, and in turn is able to make these values such that they would be efficient in the market economy, is something which we need. Ladies and gentlemen, by way of conclusion, I was extremely pleased to receive today's invitation. 2 years ago, we had a similar conference, and of course, I have been able to observe that the ideas you have been addressing have seen important progress. I believe that the media also attaches greater importance to these topics and is now covering these concepts as well. Therefore, it is only right to thank all organizations, institutions, as well as organizers of today's conference. I am particularly pleased to note that we have active participation on the part of Association of Municipalities and trade unions, because here we need to see this understanding and seek this understanding to perceive these opportunities. I would like to thank you for all the work and results which have been achieved so far, and in particular I would like to thank all the participants coming from abroad. You have prepared your contributions, and I would also like to thank the representatives from different cooperatives, universities, European institutions and NGOs. Your contributions will make sure that our conference will be filled with substance. There is no doubt in my mind that this conference will be successful, and I hope and I do believe that we will need a couple of conferences more in the future. Yet the flow of history supports this idea, and if this is so, and this is so, we will be successful in the end. Thank you very much.